Hello, and thank you for joining me here at the Real ResQ Podcast, part of the Vertical Podcast Network. We're alongside the Hangar Z Podcast, the Helicopter Podcast, and the Vertical MRO Podcast. You can find all these podcasts at verticalhelicast.com. Now, coming up next in this spotlight episode, we're highlighting a company that's bringing virtual reality to another level. This company is doing a whole bunch across the market to help with hoist operations, aerial gunner, and more. So please welcome some of the team from Bluedrop Training and Simulation. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real ResQ Podcast. This episode is a spotlight episode. I'm very excited to have this because I'm here with Bluedrop USA Training and Simulation Center here in Orlando, Florida. We are literally in your hangar, bay, simulators, everything around us. Yeah, this is amazing. So first of all, thank you guys for joining me. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
To my left, I've got Stan. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing perfect.
Excellent. To his right, my left as well, Dan.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. And to my right, I've got Jeremy.
How's it going?
Right on. That was good. And in the background, we got a couple guys. Hanato, what's up? And Hanato and I were like training and working together earlier, which we're going to touch on that just a little bit. And then behind that is John. What's up, John? So we got a couple people around us doing this. But man, we're at Bluedrop USA. What's up?
Hey, yeah, it's
Sunny Orlando.
sunny Orlando, hot, humid. Yeah, we love it.
It's been beautiful here, actually. And you know, it has been a little humid, but it's been nice. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah,
So-
welcome to Central Florida summer.
Right. 2 o'clock rain showers. Here we come. Right on time. Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, let's, we're going to touch on a whole bunch of stuff here, but the main reason I've asked you guys to join me for this spotlight episode is because I want to highlight what you guys are doing for the search and rescue industry. And even more so, you guys are going beyond the search and rescue industry, helping with simulation for air tactics, not just hoist, but aerial gunnery. Like, this is amazing what you guys are doing. So first things first, what is Bluedrop? Where are you guys located? And what do we have? Like, what is it?
I'll let you go, Jeremy.
All right. Yeah. So Bluedrop USA is a company that does a couple different things, but we do rear crew helicopter training, like you mentioned, obviously hoist training, aerial gunnery, sling load, crew coordination, cabin management, and we develop our own virtual reality simulators and mixed reality. And then we also do courseware development for training and simulation. We're here in Orlando, Florida, and then we have a sister company in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada.
Canada. Nice. 2 companies, sister companies.
Sister companies.
That's pretty cool. Right on. And you guys also have a portable simulator that can go anywhere.
That's true. Yeah. So we're sitting in front of our full size H60 behind us, but we have a portable, which is about 1/4 or less the size of it, that can fold up, get thrown on a forklift into a truck, and brought anywhere in the country, or
That's
even
fun.
overseas. We have one in the UK right now with a partner.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's that? Who's that?
They're called ARS UK,
Oh, nice.
and they have one in I think it's Essex area, somewhere around there in England.
Very cool. Man, I dig that. I like that a lot.
Yep.
Right on. Now, I have actually seen this at the Heli Expos and VAI, and you guys have been there a couple times. I've actually gotten to use it on the floor. So when you guys set this up, it's like set up and go, and all of a sudden I'm staring inside a helicopter and we're in the mountains or wherever. That's amazing.
Yeah, the setup time and teardown time is really fast, so it allows for pretty much on the spot training. As soon as it arrives, you know, you set it up, takes you about an hour, and then you're off to the races after that.
That is awesome.
When you put the goggles on, you're anywhere in the world, desert, ocean scenarios, mountain, and day, night, inclement weather, click of a button, whatever environmental training you want to do, it happens at a moment's notice. So it's freaking awesome.
That is cool. You know, Stan, you mentioned anywhere in the world. I'm thinking Tahiti. You want to go to Tahiti, you and me?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Put the goggles on. Jeremy can. Jeremy can bring us there.
Is there a place that you want to go? I'll go where you want to go.
I want to go on a training range, U.S. Army training range to train soldiers to execute their combat mission.
That's pretty cool. But where? Let's pick some exotic or cool place you want to go.
Let's go to Kuwait.
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 I don't know if that's exotic and exciting, but I'm in. I'm going. Are you coming with
It's
us?
definitely exotic.
Yeah,
I
I'll be
think.
there. I'll be there.
And hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But seeing that we're going to be in air conditioning the whole time, it'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that. What about you, Dan? Where are you taking us? We can go anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
That's
Your
rough.
program, ain't it?
I don't know.
Dan's a soldier. He wants to go where soldiers are trained.
That's a fact. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here for the betterment of everybody and anybody that provides hoist operations or aerial gunnery or the combination of the two. So either the military efforts as far as the CSAR capabilities or even just the regular search and rescue missions. That's what we're after.
That's cool.
Poland would be a good place too.
Poland.
Yeah, we'll go to Poland.
Okay,
Poland and do some training.
Okay, we'll like program Poland in from
Right.
Florida.
Yep, let's do it.
I
Jeremy.
like that. I like Jeremy. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to take us in the simulator?
I mean, for fun, it would be like Ireland, probably.
Ooh,
That'd
okay.
be good. You've got some cliffs you can hoist
Cliffs of
off of.
Moher?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
You know,
I like that.
Or you could pluck some sick passengers off of a cruise line.
there you go. Yeah.
All
do that.
right. Yeah, like down off the Bahamas.
Amen.
Sure.
The storm, the hurricanes coming in. I'm saying that because I'm in Florida right now. And
Yeah.
you guys get hit with hurricanes. Like, only it's going to be simulated. All right, that's cool.
Simulator.
60-foot seas.
Yeah,
Wow. Can we do that?
we could do that.
Yeah.
What?
60-foot
Okay.
seas, 80-knot winds. Let's just up our game a little bit.
You know,
Make it
that's
as
like
difficult as possible.
that's like
Horizontal
limitation
range.
most helicopters, and they're not going to do it anyway. But I'm in.
Hey,
Let's go.
I get that, but just nose into it and you'll be all right.
Okay.
We'll
all
also
right.
turn it to nighttime. You won't be able to see anything. It'll be great.
Oh, that'll. Okay.
Won't
Okay.
be
So
scared
I'm
anymore.
going to dive into this a little bit further because you guys are literally talking about making 60-foot waves, 80-knot winds at night, snow blowing sideways. Okay. So how does the simulator work? Like, and what benefits do I get out of it? So you have two portions. You have a hoist portion, and then you have the aerial gunner portion. So how does it work, and what are the benefits?
So our HMTS, it's highly adaptable. So it's set up for when we build the devices. Each device is set for whatever your mission set is. So if your mission set is just search and rescue, then you're going to get a slicked out airframe version of it. When you build the more of the CSAR capabilities, then we can add guns into the HMTS. We can add in all the other mission tasks, so fast roping, rappelling, ladder work, stuff like that. So
Dang, man. That's pretty cool.
And the base of simulation obviously is to be able to do things you can't do in real life, just like you were talking about with the 60-foot, waves and whatnot. But so both our simulators work similarly. They're based off the VVS4 game engine. We can create any weather, any environmental scenario. We use Vario XR4, XR3, and VR3 goggles. We're moving to the XR4s, so you get fully immersed. We have feedback on the cable. It feels like a real cable, has the same physics. The gun, you see your hands, you see the real gun. You can do reloads, jams, etc. So it obviously the benefits is you can do all the stuff you would do in real life without the flight hours, without the cost. In the environments that you need to train in.
So I really like that. And I'm going to touch on that further. Let me start with the hoist portion, right? You're right. You do see your hands. You feel the cable. It does move. So when I have a swing, like I feel the cable move, and you can feel it ratchet if I have a simulated hoist failure or cable entanglement. Like it's there. As a matter of fact, Dan gave me an emergency one day on the system, like a cable entanglement. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It's not working. And he's like, maybe it's an entanglement. I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, shoot. I should have known that. But the fact that it's there, it does feel very real. Like you feel the vibration. You feel it moves from left to right, forward and back as though you're sitting in the door. That's
You feel the
pretty
weight of the person on it. You feel if two people are on it, you feel that difference. You feel if it goes slack. You feel all that.
Yeah, which is great because like even as you're hoisting down and the simulator hits the ground or the device or the person hits the ground, your rescuer, it's that weight off, and you're like,
Right.
oh, it's kind of slack in the cable, like, and it's slack in the machine, just like it would be in real life. And I mean, I think it's very similar. Like, having done both, I'm impressed with it. So,
Yeah.
the other thing you talked about was blade time. Sorry, Stan, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. So I was just going to say, for decades in, commercial aviation, military aviation, the front seaters, the pilots, the aviators have had the benefit of training with simulations and in the synthetic environment. But the rear crew members, or as we refer to them in the Army as non-rated crew members, crew chiefs, flight engineers, door gunners, medics. There was no simulations capability for the non-rated crew member task. A lot of that had to do with technology. There wasn't, technology 30 years ago to replicate their individual aircrew member task in the rear of the aircraft. But with VR and AR and the haptics technology that's been developed through Bluedrop, it is now time. It is now the time, and the technology has developed enough so that our non-rated crew members can enjoy the benefits just as the front seaters have for decades. That they now have the ability to train in a synthetic environment, and it's realistic. It gets the sets and reps that non-rated crew members need so they can become brilliant in the basics or master the fundamentals or muscle memory, however you want to say it. But the only way to do that is through the sim environment where non-rated crew members can get on, whether it's a door gunner or the hoist device, and replicate mission scenarios. And they can go from, initial training through currency training, annual checks and reviews, mission rehearsals. As we were talking before, you can go from, whatever scenario, swift water rescues, mountain rescues, day, night vision goggles, the environment from snow to rain to winds, and to replicate those things just as our front seaters, the aviators, have been able to do for 30 years. Now our non-rated crew members have the capability to do that, and it's an awesome capability, and there is no competitor to the Bluedrop products.
It is very impressive. And I'm actually going to touch on one more thing because, Jeremy, you mentioned it. You haven't spun a blade. Like the U.S., I'm not saying the U.S., I'm going to say the H60, the 60. That sucker burns about $7,000 an hour per flight hour, give or take. And I don't think my numbers are too far off with that. I don't quote me out there on that one, but I don't think I'm pretty far off.
I will concur that $6,500, $7,000 for each flight hour in a UH-60 is in the realm.
Which is a lot, right? So now, on average, again, we haven't turned a blade yet, and I can come in here like I did with Renato earlier today and yesterday, and we can do 10 simulations without exaggeration. We did at least 5 hoists per situation, right? And you would equate that to almost 5 sorties, right? So let's call it just an hour a piece. That's 5 flight hours. That's $7,000 a flight hour that I didn't do a thing.
35 grand.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we just saved $35,000 just in flight time.
Yep.
And the greatest part about it is we can reset, we can start over. We can be like, you know what, that wasn't good. Hold on, do this again right from here.
After action reviews.
Absolutely.
You can rewind it, and just as a front seater could do, they can replay the mission scenario, and the instructor can give tips. If the student or the operator failed to perform a task to standard, they could stop it and say, this is where you messed up. This is how you need to fix it. And in fact, they can redo it again until they get it right.
Yeah.
It's really bringing the level D flight experience that the front enders have always had.
Yeah.
It's bringing that into the realm of the non-rated crew member or the hoist operators, rescue swimmers, things of that nature. And I think that's what we're really after. And I think we're right there on the money with it right now. And it's only getting better with time. So
Totally.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the beauty of these systems is the non-rated crew members can do the training on their own individually,
Yeah.
separate and apart from what the aviators are doing. But if they want to do crew rehearsals or crew training, they can connect it to a full motion device, and they can do mission rehearsals, air crew training, or all 4 crew members are communicating, talking to each other at the same time. Or, a lot of times the aviators have their training objectives that they need to do, and they can go off and do those, and the non-rated crew members by themselves can flip the switch, hop on the device, whether it's the door gunner or the hoist training system, and train themselves regardless of what the maintenance status of the aircraft is, no matter how many flight hours the unit or organization has, the weather, none of that matters. Just as we are in this training bay right here, doesn't matter what the weather's doing outside. You can come in, flip on the switch, and start conducting training.
And that's, you said it, weather. That's another big part of it. I've watched guys that have gone through a qualification process, and I'm talking like rescue swimmer, so crew chief, whatever, and they're spending a week on the ground because the weather just doesn't break, and that's a week of training time.
Yep.
That whole week could be spent right here, and it's done, and then we're moving on to flight time. Let's go.
Yep.
So it's like you can get so many reps in here.
And
So-
the ability to insert emergency procedures.
I was just going to touch on that. Yes.
So have it. It's
So
awesome.
emergency procedures, and we're talking spins, swings, your hoist cable shear, which is like never practiced in a real life scenario. Let's cut the cable. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know how much that costs? Oh my God. Do you know how pissed off maintenance is when we do that?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Hours worth of work avoided, but you can still practice it, still go through the motions. So if it ever would to happen in real life, you already know what it's going to be. And
Totally.
You already have that mastered by the time you get there.
And the greatest part about it is you guys can, the way the system is set up is that you can give somebody an emergency procedure. And I want to clarify some emergency procedures. It's really taking something that's wrong while you're hoisting and having to fix whatever that is. So whether it's a fouled cable, whether it's a entangled hoist hook, I have been around people that said, well, that's not really an emergency. That's just, you have to work through that issue. I'm like, well, if it's an issue, it's an emergency and I can call it. I'm just saying. So, but like you have the debates out there, but fact of the matter is no matter what you call it, you can push a button in this simulator and it feels real on that hoist cable.
If you're the person on the business end of the cable and you're going through that, it's an emergency for them.
You're darn right it is. AKA helmet fire. Oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about it. If the let's say you're in the ocean, the boat's drifting away, and it's now pulling your cable tight, you're going to start getting into a problem really quickly, right? So it's going to start pulling the helicopter. You're going to start stretching that cable out. You're going to start exceeding fleet angles. All the things that you don't want to do in real life, you're going to be doing them, in the simulator. So to avoid running into those issues in real life, then you can knock them out in the sim, and then you know how to react to it.
Man, I love it.
In the training environment, air crews are sometimes reluctant to, for example, conduct hoist training in a real confined area, in a forest area, because they're concerned about damaging the cable or getting the jungle penetrator or whatever hung up. So they tend to train in like a big open field or something like that to avoid the risk of damaging the cable. In the synthetic environment, you can do that over and over again. And if the penetrator gets hung up in the trees, then it's your responsibility to figure out how to get it out. And at the end of the day, you haven't damaged anything. You just reboot and start over again.
It's awesome. I love it. So one of the things I haven't touched on yet, I'm going to move past hoist real quick and talk aerial gunner. So you guys have like a 50 cal. Can you do a 7.6?
Yeah, we have a 240 sitting over there right now. So that's what that is over there. So M240, and then we can do miniguns and things of that nature too. So anything that's out there on the marketplace, we can get built and set up on integrated into our simulation.
That's awesome. And I know we were just talking about like blade time while we're flying and how much you guys are saving there. I'm going to just throw this out there. Ready? For a 50 cal, it's $3 to $5 US per round. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's say that I come in and I burn 10,000 rounds. That's a lot of money as well. And here I can do that with the simulator, and and I can do 10,000 more, and nobody even blinks an eye. So
yeah. So the cool thing with our aerial gunnery simulation, so all that is all mixed reality. Soon the hoists will all be mixed reality as well. So you're going to see your own hands. You're going to see the actual cable. And then soon, or with our gunnery stuff, you can see the actual gun, you see your own hands. So when you get jams, you get things of that nature, you can just look down at the gun as it sits and work through that yourself. Even under NVGs, everything is all piped in under your NVGs. So you can just look down at your gun, you can see what you would normally be seeing, and then work through the problems that way.
that's pretty awesome.
And range time is a precious commodity. So the amount of time an aviation unit has to go out on an aerial gunnery range and conduct door gunnery qualification, for example, you have a defined set period of time, and you're going to run all your soldiers through that, and the ones that aren't complete missed out on it. So the ability to replicate that in the synthetic environment, so they can go through all their training tables, the entire gunnery qualification requirement in the synthetic environment multiple times, ensures that when they get in the aircraft in a compressed time frame, because you're competing with other maneuver units, ground units, attack aviation, etc. So your time on the range is really short. They're fully trained in at their maximum preparedness, so that when they get on the range, they've already made all the minor mistakes. They understand what they're doing. They've gone through all the tables multiple times, and the actual gunnery qualification event can be run in a much quicker time frame, much accurate, and the training value is there. And they're not, the E4 is not fumbling around trying to figure out how to clear a weapons jam. He's done it 10 times in the synthetic environment on the simulator, so that it's just, muscle memory. When they get on the actual aircraft, they clear the weapon and continue to engage the target. So it's a great opportunity.
One thing that adds to that, Stan, is the ballistic models that's built in. So you're going to have to lead the targets just like you would left, low, right, high. So you're going to have to, as the helicopter is going along, changing airspeeds, you're going to have to change your aiming points and where you're starting from to ensure that your rounds are going to impact the right area that you're looking for, impact the targets that you're trying to shoot.
That's pretty cool.
Jeremy, talk about the ability of the system to score hits and misses, and if it's in the target area. So normally,
Yep.
and Dan can talk to this, when you're on the range shooting live fire, it's the bro network. So your friend is behind you looking and saying, yep, I think you hit the target there, and checks you off. When you're in the synthetic environment, there's no subjective scoring. It is, Jeremy can talk to that.
Yeah, so we track hits and misses, and obviously we have access to the whole virtual environment, so we know hit and miss.
Yeah.
But we also have the ability to track eyes, so we can track, how long a target between the time it takes for you to recognize a target versus it coming into view. When did you turn your head? When did you turn the gun? Did you hit it? Things like that. So
how long it took for you from the time that you detected the target to engage the target?
Yep.
Was your engagement accurate? Did you suppress the target or not? So
right.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have a tool called Impacts that we've implemented that does that performance assessment, and same thing with the hoist. It'll track similar metrics on the hoist as well.
That's really impressive. Does that mean I can't pay Dan enough to give me a better score anymore? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, it depends on Dan, I suppose.
The report card doesn't lie.
Oh, man.
And
What if I slid that 20 over there? Then does it lie?
I don't know. The printer's a printer. It's just spitting out the truth. So
And,
All right, noted.
and it prints out for the Army, it prints out the Army scorecard.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So
Nice.
It's got your name, all the information, heading information, dates, and every table that you fire, and it prints out the scorecard.
Wow.
so then you can just add in the competition, right? So now everybody wants to now everybody's gonna get hot and heavy on it and try to battle and see who the best is, right? So
All
you're
right,
gonna
you
do
lose my $20. I'm putting it in the pot now.
There you go.
That's
it's a
like,
competition.
That's
now.
right. Loser has to buy a beer. That's what I'm saying.
Of course. There it is.
Man, that's incredible. One of the other things, like I'm thinking about all this stuff you guys are talking, a lot of like Army and combat and whatnot. The U.S. Coast Guard does their aerial gunner program out here to do like some of the boats that come up, and they're shooting engines out and stuff. I mean, that's like the warning shots off the bow, and then all of a sudden they're shooting some of the, and then Customs and Border Protection are doing some of the same. These guys can all benefit from this as well, coming in at like different, we're going to call it different mission that comes in, but you guys can program all that in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And the ability, just like the Hoist, to do an AR, go through the whole scenario that you just did, and if the door gunner consistently shoots, to the left of the target, it's a teaching point to say, you're not compensating for rotor wash, you're not compensating properly for the airspeed of the aircraft moving forward or whatever. So, it gives the student, whoever's training, it gives them an opportunity to immediately get back on the system and make the correction that the instructor told them to, and they can see the results immediately, not next year when you get back, on the range, you need to think about this, and that the training value is lost at that point. But on the simulations, ARs can be done. You can rewind and replay the whole event, and the instructor can give on the spot corrections, and they can jump back on the system and do it again. And the training value when they implement the recommendations and they get the results they need, the training light bulb goes off at that moment. So it's a great
that's
training
awesome.
aid.
Man, I like it. This is such an impressive system that you guys have. I'm going to dive a little deeper into it though. Like now I've had an opportunity to sit down and look and get the feel, like literally being here, working with you guys. And I was here with a couple of agencies to just kind of play around with the stuff. Plus they mentioned VAI and the Heli Expo and stuff. But for you guys, what would you call like the video, like look and feel? Is like, I know it looks good and I know it feels good, but what is the intention for you guys? You did a great job building it.
Yeah. Who was that just got on our Hoist simulator and said when they looked over the edge of the aircraft, they thought they were looking down, 90 feet from the aircraft, off the edge of the aircraft down to the ground. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It's realistic.
Yeah, you feel extremely immersed, and I mean, for me, I'm afraid of heights, so going on there and doing that, it was really freaky for me. So it definitely works.
Don't lean into the door. I remember that. Do not lean. This is not a real door.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were asking, why is that, colored differently? Why is there a grid square on there? And we were like, well, because it's not real, and if you act like you're going to lean out on it, you're just going to fall out. And so it's very immersive. Everything's in place the way that it would. We model everything to be, where each piece of rescue equipment is going to be in the aircraft, where everything is it's supposed to be. So every model that we build for every customer that we have, it is true to form, true to life, so that it builds that muscle memory. So you're going to be doing the same things that you're going to be doing in the helicopter that you're going to do in the simulator.
Yeah, so things like handholds are in the same spot, tie downs are in the same spot, and obviously it changes depending on the model of helicopter. We recreate the actual cabin. Some of the things like the seats and things like that are all virtual, but anything that you would physically need to hold while hoisting, or if you're putting your foot down on the skiff or whatever, it's actually there.
Yeah, buttons and switches, things of that nature. ICS panels, if you have any kind of hoist panels, things of that nature, we recreate all of that for the end users.
Yeah, because it's actually pretty impressive. You guys have multiple helicopters that are in the simulator that you can fly on, and I have been able to fly on the H-60 right off the get-go. You have the 47.
Yeah, we have a Chinook. Yep.
What else do you have?
So we've done AW139. We've done
V22,
V22s,
S92s.
S92s. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I did see that because that was up in Nova Scotia.
Yep,
That was
yep.
painted up with Cougar helicopter.
Cougar helicopter.
Yeah, that's right. I did see that one. Okay.
And there they have it hooked up to a front end too, so they're doing full pilot and crew training.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And I think the most impressive part of that device itself is that when it's hooked up to the front end, they're not co-located, so the devices don't need to be near each other. They're actually like 6 miles apart.
Are they
So-
really?
Yeah, they're like 6 miles apart, not co-located, but they're still able to operate because it doesn't take a large amount of data to create the experience itself.
Yeah, and
You
kind of
see the same thing. They're 6 miles apart, but when they put the goggles on,
it's like they're in the same
view.
helicopter.
They're in the same helicopter
Absolutely.
aircraft.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I should mention, depending on the type of platform, we kind of have two different versions of the simulator. So one is like, this one is just the hoist, full-size cabin, but then we have what we call the RCMT, the Rear Crew Mission Trainer, which in that case is a full-size, like on a Chinook, it's 48 feet, 50 feet, something like that. And then you can fit 3-4 crew members in there at once doing everything they would be doing in the real helicopter,
Right.
including like a working ramp, if a ramp is supposed to be there, and a gun on the ramp, and everything that would happen in real life.
And there's such detail, like on the door gunner simulator, when the aircraft starts to move forward, the wind load on the weapon system, you can feel the difference.
Right.
So if you're going, if you're at a hover, there's no wind resistance. But as the aircraft starts to transition to forward flight, the faster the aircraft goes, the more wind load on the weapon system. So you have to compensate for that as well. So
Wow.
every minute detail to make it as realistic as possible so that there's no negative training transfer from, training in the sim and doing it in the live aircraft. There's no negative training transfer.
You guys have really paid attention to details on this one. Well done.
And he mentioned, being in the same VR when you're separated, but you can like look behind you and see the person hoisting in the virtual world while you're sitting at the front, and vice versa. So, in real life, if you would look back and say something to them, you could do that. So it's all there.
All 6 miles apart.
Yeah, exactly.
I can think of flights that I've been on where it would have been nice if the pilots and the crew member had been 6 miles apart. I'm just saying. I love my pilots. I love all my boys, but there were some times, what I'm saying.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, absolutely.
But a challenge in the training in the simulations environment is negative training transfer, negative habit transfer, where something that you're doing in the sim is not the way it is in the actual aircraft. And there is virtually no negative training transfer from Bluedrop products to the actual aircraft. And that wind resistance, wind load on the weapon system as the aircraft is moving forward is just an example of that. The ballistic models in the track of the bullets from the simulator replicates what it is in the aircraft. So if you're at a hover, the main ballistics influence is the rotor wash, but as you move into forward flight, the downwash is reduced, but the forward flight and the airspeed going across the bullet trajectory is the ballistic models compensate for that, so that if you have to lead X number of feet in front of the aircraft at 60 knots in the sim, it is very, very similar when you get an actual aircraft. So the aim point, there's no negative or very little negative transfer of habits.
That's amazing. That's such a bonus, especially so as an instructor myself going out teaching. One of the things that we have to deal with are guys that create bad habits. and you can fix them right here before you even get into the field. So they're gone. I love that.
Yeah, and there's no, hey, you do it in here in the sim this way, but when you get in the actual aircraft, you got to do it this other way. There's none of that, or very
No.
very limited. It's very limited. So it's a great training platform.
Man, I love this system. I love what you guys are doing. I think it's amazing. All right, I'm gonna throw one more scenario out there. Ready? Because this is my world is rescue, and you guys know that. Okay, I'm not totally like I'm all like shooting down the bad guys and stuff, which is super fun. But I've never really done that. I'm again a rescue guy. So, all right, so it's you and me, Dan. We're going out. Big mission. You guys can be pilots. Is that cool?
He is a pilot, so that works.
Even better. Can we kick him in the left seat? Is that okay?
Just don't touch the controls. You can look.
First
but
rule of
don't
co-pilot?
touch. Yeah, you can look, but don't touch.
All right, so here we are. We're on our mission. You get the gunner. You get the gun.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So we get out, and our mission is whatever it is. We go out and we take out our target. And in that taking out of the target, one of our guys gets hit. Now we got to go into immediate rescue.
Yeah.
Can you guys do that in the system where you're set up to? I mean, you're in. You got weapons and stuff,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, no. So yeah, combat search and rescue, right? So CSAR. Yeah, that is a main benefit of hooking up both of the devices at the same time. So we can actually hook up multiple devices. So we can hook up the gunnery seat, a pilot seat, as well as the HMTS all at the same time, and fly around doing combined crew missions. So whatever that is, anywhere that is in the world, you can set up a scenario and go execute just like you would in real life.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so we delivered the combat rescue helicopter to Kirtland Air Force Base for the purposes of training combat search and rescue, which it's with an HH-60 Whiskey, which is a replica of this one here.
Man, that's cool. That's very cool.
Absolutely.
I take it. So did we have a successful mission?
Absolutely.
Oh, freaking
We would
right.
always have a successful
All right, bring
mission.
it in, team. Bring it in. Come
All
on,
right,
come on. Yes. 1, 2, 3, team. Sorry, over there. Team.
All right.
Hey, thanks, guys. It's funny. All right, so you guys were talking about you would deliver this. Let's talk about some of your customers. When they come to you, what are their goals with the VR training? Do they have them ahead of time, or do you guys set that up for them?
Yeah, so they most of the customers that come in to Bluedrop to train here, they already have goals set up for themselves. They already have their SOPs. They already have their POIs. They know what they're going to get into when they come in here. They just voice that to me, and then we'll set it up from there. We can use all the different missions that we have already readily available, so we can meet whatever the need is.
Which is the plug and play missions,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
which are the fun ones that I've done. I've done like off the lake in the trees. I've done in the mountain. I've done on a boat that's rolling over waves.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
yeah, and so that's specifically, using the training center here in Orlando, and then converse to that is, we have the people that like Cal Fire or the Army who want to buy one, but they don't quite have that figured out yet. So we're working to educate and advocate for the rear crew training, which is what Stan was saying earlier, where they didn't have this before at all. So we're doing a lot of evangelism on that aspect of it.
Right on.
But like with Cal Fire, you guys, each mission aircraft has some nuanced differences to it. So Bluedrop builds the device based on the aircraft and the mission set of the customer. So like Cal Fire, you guys had to do some additional steps and physical things in addition to in the VR, so that when you look in the cabin of the aircraft, their rescue equipment is the same type of equipment they got in the aircraft. It's hanging in the same exact spot in the VR as it is in the actual aircraft. But
yeah, so their full size device has the it has the water tank under their S70Is.
Yep.
So they have the big water tank underneath, and they actually hoist off of that, and it's actually a dual step. So and it sticks out another probably foot off the door. So they only have about 8-9 inches of clearance from the actual hoist itself.
Oh wow,
So
nice.
it's really tight confines with it, and so when they do that, we set up the hoist to be exactly what they're going to be working on when they're out there.
So what you delivered to Cal Fire included that tank and
Hoist operators panel,
Everything's the same. So whatever the customer needs, it's either in the physical, in the cabin, or in the virtual environment. It's replicated.
Wow, that's cool. It's impressive to see. Like I said, I mean, I've sat on this a couple times. So, but let me go into like, how did the rear crew and the people that have come in, some of your clients, when they saw what was in here, what were their reactions coming in?
Most reactions are all extremely positive right from the get-go, because they get so immersed so quickly. They're in the helicopter. They can look around. They can see. They can touch. They can feel. And then they looking off the side, or they're hanging their feet like they would. Some 60 guys like to hang their feet. And as you can see on the simulator behind us here, you can sit down and hang your feet, or you can kneel. So all the positions that they would normally be in, they can just get into it immediately, and then they can just get to work.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I think the common theme, right, is that most people don't even know that this exists, right?
Right.
So when they step in here, it's, amazement of just the fact that you can even do this, and then you can connect them all together and have everyone flying at once, and the pilot can do the same communication back to the rear crew. Whatever you would tell them in real life, you tell them here.
Yeah.
It's just there's nothing else quite like what's here out there. So it's just very positive.
And you can tell someone, show them pictures of it, talk about it, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. That sounds neat." But the light bulb goes off when they put the goggles on, sit down, and start operating. And it's like, holy smokes!
Yeah.
This is realistic. I'm in the environment. So you got to get on the device, put the goggles on to understand and appreciate the training value of a device like this. And our next big event is at the National Guard Association of the United States. National Guard has a big conference once a year. This year it's in Detroit. We're bringing all of our devices up there to demonstrate to them. And the National Guard, has a somewhat unique mission. They have their MTO, their go to war Army mission that they've got, but they've also got a domestic mission to respond to, for the states and counties for hurricane, floods, swift water rescues, mountain rescues. So even states that do not have a medevac platform in their state, every state has an aircraft, a Black Hawk or a UH-72 Lakota that is hoist capable, so that they can respond not only their wartime mission, but they can respond to state natural disasters and man-made disasters. So it's we're going to spend some time in August here in a week or so and demonstrate the capabilities.
That's
of the
fantastic.
National Guard as well.
Yeah, so one of the key things that we haven't really emphasized yet in terms of why our simulations have the capabilities that they have is one of the unique things about us is that these are actually commercial products. So we didn't build these under contract for someone or under a services contract. These are our products that we sell and continuously improve. Whereas anything else out there on the market is something that was built under a contract with like the government or whatever, where it had very specific limiting requirements and they couldn't spend the time to do what we've done. And so because of that, we've been able to take feedback from operators, from, our own SMEs, from whoever else, and build that improvement, as we go forward. Yeah. And we can, we just took it last week to an Army base to get tested. We can, we have the ability to do all that because they're our devices.
Dang, that's impressive. It really is. Seeing you guys were talking about customers that you've helped out to, I'd like to talk about a couple of them that you guys have. Do you guys have agencies that come in here as a recurrent and like every year, annually, quarterly, or whatnot? And can you divulge any bit of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Seminole County is an annual customer. So Seminole County Sheriff's Office.
They fly the little 125, the little A-Star.
They do indeed fly the little 125. They've been coming back here every year, and they like to practice emergency procedures, just knocking out those things that, just like you were saying earlier, stuff that you're not going to do on the actual helicopter for training. So they like to come in and do that, and they'll cycle all their people through once a year and just knock out all the crazy emergency procedures that we can throw at them.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I like that. Is there Are there anybody else that comes in like once a year or quarterly or anything like that? Who else do you have?
So we've had air center copters for quite some time have brought people through. A lot of times they have a unique mission set where they had an influx of crew members, and so they needed a knockout training at a very high pace, and so we would have quite a few folks from them coming through.
What's your biggest class that you've had run through the simulator?
I think that was about 14.
14 people?
About 14 people, yeah.
Holy cow. Okay, for those that don't, can't fathom that number or think, oh, 14's no big deal, either way, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was 14 people. It was about 3 days long, and it was hammering out all the stuff like we've been doing with Ronaldo, just knocking out the basics, knocking out the rust off, really working on that crew coordination and adding to their repertoire of things.
Wow.
Yeah, and just to give a reference point, we normally rent out for up to 6 people per day is typically our average class. So 14 is a lot.
So I'm going to piggyback off that. Anytime that I have done a training class, normally it's about 6 max of 8 people, and anything more than that, you need 2 helicopters. Or I don't have enough time, or I need a week and a half or 2 weeks. So
yeah, and imagine the cost of the blade hours to train 14 people to do all of those tasks.
Yeah.
In the actual aircraft, it's
and I think we got about
cost prohibitive.
I think we got about 40 hoist iterations at least per day on each individual. So it was
a lot.
hammering through. Yeah, it was very full days, but it was very productive.
I mean, you're talking. Just quick math here. You have 14 people, and I'm just going to go let's go 7,000. You know what? I need a calculator. Let me grab me a calculator. Hold on. I'm gonna do this math. All right, because we can. So we've got. This is blowing me right now. So you've got it's $7,000 per flight hour on the 860. All right, times, let's say, you said 40 hoists, right?
Yeah, they would get anywhere between 30 to 40 per day.
And I'm going to call it, let's say, five hoists per flight, round numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, that's a busy flight, but yeah.
Six flights.
So we're gonna 6 flights, but how many hours is that? Let's see, 6 flights. Let's times 2. So let's go times 12. That's $84,000 per person. Ready? Times 14. That's $1,176,000 that you guys just really saved in blade time alone.
Yeah.
Not to mention having to go fly to an airport, shut down, get fuel, fly back to the training area, and restart the training program.
That's a great point too, because we literally you're as a matter of fact, they're airborne behind us on the computer screen.
Yeah.
We're on station right now. Let's go.
And no consumables either, so you don't wear out, real hoists or other equipment or anything like that. So
Wow.
Yeah, you're not putting the iterations on the hoists, getting closer to their TBOs every time, things of that nature. The maintenance on these hoists, I've changed out one cable, and it was only just because. It wasn't because it was worn out yet. And that was about at the 2-year mark. So that was thousands and thousands of iterations of hoist. And then, you change out one cable. It takes you a few hours during a day, and it doesn't cost you like $50,000 to do so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
In one hoist iteration where the jungle penetrator or something gets wrapped around a limb and kinks the cable.
Yeah.
It's non-mission capable at that point. You got to replace the cable. So just one of those events. How much does it?
Hoist itself is like $300,000, right?
Yeah, the hoist itself is about $300,000, but yeah, you're looking at like anywhere from the $30,000 to $50,000 for a cable, including the time it takes to do it. So.
Right.
You can do those iterations, a hung penetrator or whatever, over and over and over again on each person who, if they couldn't do it in the sim environment, they would probably never experience that unless it was a live hoist and not being trained on how to react to that emergency is it's invaluable.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Yeah, totally. And you know what? There's only one guy I've ever known that has sheared a cable. It was in a training flight. It was Dan Kinsetti, who has been and worked with you guys
Yep.
here as an instructor. So he's a good friend of mine, and I'm throwing his name out there because I've learned so much from that guy. And it's amazing. But anyway, you know, I think about something else here with you guys is like standardization checks. While I was in the U.S. Coast Guard, the stand team would come around to every unit and they would give us a stand check every year. And the stand check was nothing more than to make sure we're doing it the way, the Coast Guard way. I'll use that, the Coast Guard way, right? You guys are legitimately the same, where you have a unit come out and you have all their, hey, here's everything that
Yep.
you're supposed to do. Come in, here's your stand check. So you could literally run that every emergency procedure. Everything could be done right here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing because it's really good for, you know, your ab initio trainers, right? So all your new folks that are coming up, working on the communication, working on your call and response, working on your hand and arm movements, talking and doing at the same time, which that is like the biggest problem with brand new folks is getting them to do and getting them to say what they're doing at the same time is I don't know, it's weird for folks to get
not
that
natural.
together. Yeah, it's not natural. And then as well as all your advanced, so all your standardization checks, all your advanced things that you're not going to do a risk assessment for, nobody's going to sign off doing the super risky 40-foot waves just because for training.
Right.
So you can get all that experience in there as well as hitting your annuals and just running through everything annually. You could do them here on the ground, so you know 100% that you're going to knock it out of the ballpark once you do it in the air.
Man, that is super cool. I'm gonna go on to my next question real quick, and really kind of one of my last ones is, what's on the horizon for you guys? What's next in the VR sim training?
Yeah, so for us, we kind of have two main focuses. So one is, as we talked about earlier, we're moving to the mixed reality on the Hoist as well. So right now it's virtual reality. So we're moving to the Vario XR4 and everything being mixed. So you'll be able to see your actual hands on the actual Hoist cable and then everything else being virtual. You know, that's going to be a huge step because that's what enables the gun to be so realistic. And then the other part of that is that impacts program we mentioned earlier. So that human performance analysis, being able to provide real-time feedback, potentially AI-driven, you know, automated tutoring and things like that as we get further down the line.
Very cool. Very cool. I think you could probably add a water gun in there, so you know, splash in the face.
Oh yeah.
We're just missing the sand blaster and a water gun. Yeah,
Bugs in your teeth or whatever while you're flying around.
We just get a blow dryer and we'll just.
Well, that's perfect. Yeah, now we're in the desert. Excellent.
and a giant fan. That's about it.
All right.
And I would say this is truly kind of a new capability that has not proliferated like front end simulators, pilot simulators, which have been around for 30 years, and it's, you know, common knowledge. Everybody grows up using them. If you're an aviator, this type of device is new, and it has not proliferated throughout the, you know, the aviation community. So spending a lot of time educating the art of the possible and what's available. And, you know, sometimes senior leaders that make budgetary decisions, they've never had to make a decision on, am I going to spend X number of dollars for non-rated crew members, simulations trainer. So educating the force, educating decision makers, budgetary decision makers to adopt this capability is another, you know, what's next for us. And we continue to do that with trade shows and engagements. The Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard.
And all civilian markets with the FAA and EASA and stuff like that. As those regulations start coming out, you know, we want to be on that cutting edge, that level D experience. Like I said earlier, we want to be pushing the boundaries of how far this stuff can go. But we're definitely going to continue to evolve the devices to meet the standards and the needs of the community out there.
That's cool, because there are a lot of agencies that are starting to get hoists on helicopters that have never hoisted a day in their life. And this is a great way to start coming into that. And yeah, man, I love it. I love what you guys are doing. Listen, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on. If people wanted to get in touch with you guys, what's the best way to do it?
So our website is www.BluedropUSA.com, and you can email us at info@BluedropUSA.com if you have questions. You can look us up on LinkedIn as well. We're all on LinkedIn also. Happy to answer questions.
And if you want to see any videos, you can search Bluedrop on YouTube. Yeah, there's some videos on there. It's some good content.
Like Bluedrop Simulation and Training.
Yes.
Yeah, it's also
Specifically,
linked on our website also if you go to the products.
Cool. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah, and all the videos are on the website as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there. It's cool to watch.
Yeah.
Right on.
But the light bulb goes off when you put the goggles on. So, come here, experience it, and there's not a better product on the market. So this is where it's at if you're into non-rated crew member or rear crew member training, sim training.
Cool. I dig it. Well, gentlemen, again, thank you for your time so much. This has been an amazing spotlight episode for me. Stan, Dan, Jeremy, I look forward to seeing you guys back in the sim.
All right.
Thank you.
Really
Awesome.
appreciate
Having
it.
us.
And with that,
Thanks.
ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here.
Go.
Now it's time for me to pull chocks and take off. But before I go, I'm always looking for the memorable rescues that people have done. If you have one that you're willing to share or know somebody who has a story, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to highlight it here at the Real ResQ. For everybody that is standing by for that SAR alarm, remember, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. So until next time, fly safe and swim hard. Thank you for joining me today here at the Real ResQ Podcast, powered by Vertical Helicast. We'd also like to say thank you to our sponsors for this episode.
Bluedrop Training and Simulation. Bluedrop Training and Simulation for equipping your team with essential training solutions, including highly interactive courseware and advanced VR/MR simulation training tools. Explore more of Bluedrop's training solutions at BluedropTS.com.
Like in this case, I choose the basket because I have two people over there.
Great.
Could I put two people here?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about, yes, in the simulator as well. In real life,
Yeah.
you can fit two people in the rescue basket,
Mm-hmm.
assuming that they're not like 300 pounds or like 130
Yeah.
kilos.
The maximum weight.
Right.
Okay.
So if they're like 130 kilos or more, not happening.
Mm-hmm.
But like you and I, we might be able to fit in there. But you and I are two big dudes,
Okay.
so it'd be pretty tight. So it is possible.
Okay. But the rescuer told me that the guy is a little bit tiny and
So he's
he's
like-
one too.
He's like 75 kilo and 75 kilo.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm going right into kilos.